Oh yeah. And now from North Platte High School Studio B, welcome to Bulldog Banter, where students, stakeholders, and alumni come together to traverse the transformative power of education. This week's episode sponsored by the North Platte Public Schools Foundation and the Flower Market.
Hi, I'm Tucker.
I'm Will.
And this is the Bulldog Banter.
We talk about stuff, talk to people about stuff, and give you the latest banter.
Bulldog style. Today's guest is Gabriella Swift, Miss Nebraska's Team 2025.
Hello.
Okay. First question, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, about the organization that you're in, everything about that.
I am from right here in North Platte, Nebraska. I'm a freshman at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and I am pre-majoring in nursing. And so I've just been in this organization for only 1 year, but my grandpa was the car dealer who sponsored the cars for the Miss Nebraska. He just recently had Mackenzie Gregory for a long time, so I've been behind it for a very long time now, and so I've got to see behind the scenes everything that's happened. So it's been amazing. Excuse me. It's been amazing being able to be in this organization for this 1 year. It's changed my life, and so now I get to be a part of it for the rest of my life.
Yeah, awesome. You mentioned your grandpa was the car dealer. They don't they give cars out for?
Yeah, so the Miss Nebraska, she gets a car for her year of rain, usually kind of like a fall, summery one, and then a winter car. And so my grandpa used to sponsor those cars, and so they get to drive that while they're traveling the state, and so I was always behind the scenes, so he did that until he passed away.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you mentioned you grew up here. What was that experience like? Yeah,
it's been awesome growing up in North Platte. I love this town. I love the small town, especially because whenever you get to travel to Lincoln, it's kind of like a vacation. And being here, especially, this is like the home base for the Miss Nebraska organizations where the pageant is held each summer. And so it's really special getting to come back here and do this podcast.
Yeah, so you went to school down in St. Pat's and all that. How was that? You played sports. What sports did you play?
I did volleyball, basketball for a few years, and then track. It was a great school. I loved being able to be in a small school, especially compared to your Class A school. I was Class D, and so it's definitely a very different outlook. I graduated with 21 kids, and you guys have like a class of like 400. So definitely different, but I loved being in a small school, knowing everybody, and knowing all the teachers, and the teachers knowing all of you.
Absolutely. What do you think, like, kind of your favorite part of high school was?
My favorite part of high school was probably just senior year. It was definitely just a fun experience, getting closer with all your classmates before you graduated, having that one last year to really enjoy the process of being in high school.
Going into senior year, did you have any plans of really trying out for Miss Nebraska? Because from what I know, like, you kind of just went into it and happened to do really good. But like, what was your plan going into senior year? Were you really trying to get for Miss Nebraska, or just, I don't know?
Honestly, I was just like, my mom kind of just told me to go for it, and so I did. It was kind of just a spur of the moment. I didn't really I didn't know what would happen going into it. I went to my first local 2 weeks before senior year started, and I didn't expect to win that. My dad didn't even go to the competition, just my mom did, because we were just let's just see what happens. And then I ended up winning, which was just a big surprise because it was one of the biggest locals of the year. And so then I just prepared super hard and worked my butt off to get to where I was. And then June rolled around and we didn't know what would happen. It was obviously my first year competing, but then I ended up winning and now I'm here. And so it was definitely a ride of a lifetime, and it kind of changed my senior year too, just because doing pageants and school and sports on top of that was definitely hard, but it made it all worth it.
Absolutely. Tell us more about your experience with Miss Nebraska. The whole, was it 2 weeks?
Yeah, it was about a week long, the week of the pageant.
The week, just some about that week.
It was a crazy week. Waking up at 4 a.m. for hair and makeup, because you had to have your hair and makeup done before you got to rehearsals, rehearsing for 8 hours, and then not getting home, and then having an activity later in the night, and then not getting home till 10 p.m. And so it was definitely kind of like a nationals moment. It was like a preparation for nationals in a way. It was really amazing, though. I mean, you got to be with girls who you love and who are some of my best friends now. And so being able to be with them, and I loved rehearsals. I always thought it was just super fun, getting to be with everyone, learning dances, being on stage, practicing your talent and your walks that you've been preparing for all year was super fun. And getting to know the girls especially, or even the older girls, the misses, compared to the teens was also really fun.
You mentioned your talent. What is your talent Like, what is your talent for your competition?
My talent is tumbling, and so I was a gymnast for a lot of years, and so I just kind of transitioned that onto the stage, and it's kind of just like an upbeat tumbling routine, so in a way kind of a dance, but more tumbling aspect of it.
Nice. What's the other aspects? There's the, I can't remember, what did Mackenzie say? There's the talent, and that's about it that I know, that I remember.
That's usually what everyone remembers. There's a talent, on-stage question, interview, evening gown, and fitness. And so all of those, they all accumulate to your total score. And so interview is the biggest one. So you have a 10-minute interview with a 30-second opening, 30-second closing with the panel of 5 judges. And so that's just in a separate room. That usually takes place like a couple days before the competition starts. Then you have on-stage question where they ask you a question. You don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be something about your community service initiative, but you're not sure what it will be. So you have 30 seconds to answer that on stage to the judges. Then you do evening gown where you walk in a gown that you love just to portray your personality and what they see your presence on stage. Fitness, you'll walk in rebel athletic wear, and then talent, of course.
So you mentioned stuff about your community service initiative. Tell us a little bit about that.
So my community service initiative is Beyond the Mirror Support for Eating Disorder Recovery. And so I was a gymnast, as I said, growing up. And then I transitioned to high school sports instead of gymnastics. And so I kind of grew an eating disorder where I just looked at myself differently. I looked at food differently. And so now I advocate for that. And currently, right now, I'm working with a senator down in Lincoln to have a bill sponsored here in the next session in January where eating disorder recovery will hopefully be covered by by insurance here in Nebraska.
Could you explain a little bit more of that? That sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So right now, the only state to have insurance cover eating disorder treatment is California. And eating disorder treatment can cost around from $100,000 to $130,000 to get recovery. And so that's just obviously very expensive, especially for families who just could not afford that but want to get their son or daughter recovery. And so I am working super hard with a senator to be able to have mainly private insurance companies cover that treatment so then people can receive recovery because there's 77% of people who go through an eating disorder here in Nebraska specifically don't receive that recovery.
How did you even get in contact with this? Like, how did you reach out to that senator, be like, I have this idea, and how did that process go through?
So I actually, for my senior year English class, I was in English Comp 2, and we had to write a paper. And I actually wrote a 20-page paper over eating disorders and why insurance should cover that because of how expensive it is. And just personally, I know my family could not afford, if I wanted to get treatment, my family could not afford that. And I know a lot of other families can't too. And so I really wanted to advocate for that. And so I wrote a 20-page paper and I actually emailed it to all 49 senators here in Nebraska. And quite a few, I would say over 20 of them answered, but one specifically two mainly, but one specifically really mainly wanted to work with me and get this bill through it because his kids have gone through an eating disorder and he has eating disorder in his past. And so he really wanted to work with me on that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't,
Yeah.
So hopefully that bill gets passed.
I know.
And then, so out of the Miss Nebraska competitions that you mentioned, which one would you say was your favorite doing at Miss Nebraska or even Miss America?
My favorite would definitely be fitness or talent. I love fitness. It feels so comfortable and natural to me to be out there just walking. I mean, it's not like a slow walk, it's a fast walk. There's certain ways you have to walk to it, but it's super fun. But I also just love talent. I have a really big personality when I'm on stage performing. And so that was really fun, especially at nationals, because talent is just one night only. And so you get to perform just your talent. That's all you do for the night. But it's definitely just a surreal moment dancing on the national stage.
So you're mentioning nationals. Can you tell us a little more about the Miss America, your experience, everything?
Yeah, that nationals was probably one of the most out-of-body experiences of my life. I was down there, again, I was up at 4 a.m. getting my hair and makeup done, and then we wouldn't go to bed till 1 a.m. And so it was insane, but getting to meet 51 other girls, Puerto Rico and District of Columbia included, was one of the best things I've ever done. I actually had a best friend already who's from Idaho that we met at a pageant academy in March, and we met before we were both state crowned, and so we became best friends there, and then we both got crowned 1 week apart from each other, so that was really fun. Then getting to go to nationals with her was just amazing, but also getting to meet so many other girls from every single state has been incredible, and so I now have a best friend in every state.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That takes place in Florida, right?
Yep, that was in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, that sounds fun. But how do you think, trying to switching gears here, how do you think North Platte helped you prepare for this Miss Nebraska, Miss America experience in any way?
I definitely have it's an amazing community here as a whole. We're definitely like a community-based town. And so I had so much support backing me. My school was backing me. People around the town were backing me. I had people who would help contribute to my talent or my walking or would help me with costumes, my wardrobe, so many things like that. We have great sponsors, and it truly was just amazing seeing the community come back to me.
Yeah. So speaking of your sponsors, who all helped you sponsor this journey?
So many people have helped sponsor this journey. The prom shop is one of the biggest ones with my wardrobe. Abby allows me to borrow dresses when I go to local competitions and wear those to promote her. There's been a whole different even altitude of sponsors, especially like the flower shop, which I know your mom runs. She has been amazing, and she's been able to provide me with my winning flowers, actually. So that was really cool.
Yeah. Speaking of the flower market, the Christmas decor is 50% off.
Store-wide, 25% off.
And they have poinsettias with red, pink, white, and Jingle Bell for the Christmas spirit, along with the Christmas cactuses.
Even Christmas cactuses.
But yeah, I can't imagine the support given to you by North Platte. Like, do you think Miss Nebraska taking place in North Platte helps? I don't know. Like, do you just like that aspect of Miss Nebraska?
I do love that. I think it's a really great town for it to take place in. It used to take place in Omaha, and I think more people, especially out west, like Scottsbluff Alliance area, really recognize this organization more that it's in North Platte because it's kind of just in the middle of everything, and so that's really great in itself.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So you mentioned way earlier, but like been a part of the Miss Nebraska program for a while. Have you always like thought about like, yeah, this might be something I want to do, or like have you always looked up to Miss Nebraska in some sort of way?
I definitely have always looked up to the Miss Nebraskas. I was always really close with them because of my grandpa. And so, like, my grandma and grandpa, they would also host girls. And a lot of the times, it would just somehow end up being the winner. And so, I've always been really close with the misses. And then recently, in these past years, I've been really close with the teens, too, Janae Harris and Boston Patera. And I know Boston was a North Platte owned, too. And so, it's been really special looking up to them and just maybe thinking, like, one day I could do that. But sometimes I would always be like, you always have a feeling like, I don't know if I could actually do it. But then once you actually are determined and you do it, it's life-changing.
What was the process like, kind of just out of nowhere thinking, let's go do a local and just kind of getting ready for that?
So honestly, like 2 years ago now, I watched the Miss Nebraska pageant and I was just like, I think I should just try it. And my mom was behind me on it. She was the one that was like, yeah, you should just try it. And so I got in contact with the previous Miss Nebraska, Megan Rhodes, 2014. And she actually was like, yeah, I think you should go for it. And so she helped prepare me for that local really well. And it was kind of just the process of where do I even need to begin? Because a lot of girls just don't even know where to begin when they're starting pageants, especially if they've never done it before. But understanding that it's just a process that can help you is amazing.
Yeah, Absolutely. What do those local like pageants look like? I've never been to a local one. I've only been to Miss Nebraska, but what does like a local one look like?
So it looks basically the same as state, just in one day. And so you'll do all the areas of competition just in one day. It's not spread out and you don't have like separate nights of competition. And so it's definitely kind of a whirlwind because you're just doing it all in one day, but it's also nice being able to just be with the girls. You're there from like 8 a.m. to about 10 p.m. at night. So just kind of like a normal rehearsal day. You're rehearsing. It's just not as much like in your face, like rehearsals all day for a week straight. It's just one day. You get it done, but it's amazing.
Yeah. So have you got to travel a lot from this Miss Nebraska? Like, what's the favorite place you've been because of this program?
My favorite place, I don't know my favorite, but it's been cool being able to go down to like Scottsbluff and Alliance because I never go there, especially just because it's so west of the state and I was Class D, so we just never had to travel down there. But being able to do this job, I've been able to travel that far and get to see those places, Chimney Rock, all of the fun stuff down that way. And so it's been really cool being able to travel the state in like full capacity.
What about like throughout the country? Because I know Mackenzie mentioned stuff about like New York and stuff like that.
Yeah, New York. We did get to go to New York. Abby from the prom shop, she took us down there to get my wardrobe, and that was the best trip of my life. I tell everybody that. It was so fantastic. I got to go everywhere. I got to do a boat tour. I got to go to a Broadway show, work with Giovanni in itself, and that's a huge sponsor of wardrobe for everybody and all the contestants, so that was amazing.
Yeah, New York sounds fun. Mm-hmm. What Broadway show did you go to?
I honestly don't remember what it was called, but it was really, really good. I've never even heard of it before. But it was an amazing Broadway show. I mean, any Broadway show is amazing.
Honestly, I wish I would have went to the Broadway show when my sister, my mom, and my grandma went. I went to a Yankees game.
They went to a Yankees game?
I went to a Yankees game. The Yankees
Instead
lost.
of going to a Broadway show?
The Yankees lost.
Oh, yeah. Broadway show is probably better. I actually like plays.
Yeah.
But,
It's true.
yeah. So, with the traveling, have you got to do, like, a lot of traveling around the state? Like, what do you do normally when you travel around the state? Just, like, for different events, talk to people? Like, what do you do normally?
Yeah, so people can always or contact me to have me for an event somewhere in the state. And so I've gone from Lincoln, I've gone to Kearney, which is not too far, but mainly for local competitions I'll travel. So again, I traveled down to Scottsbluff for a local competition, Alliance for a local competition, Fremont just this past weekend there was a local competition. But mainly I love doing stuff in my hometown, especially when I'm here during break, being able to do things, giving back to my community since they gave so much to me.
Yeah, that sounds
Awesome.
nice. So we ask this for every podcast guest. What is your favorite type of advice or best advice you would give to any high schoolers or just anybody in general?
I would tell them that if you're kind of wanting to do something, this sounds cliche, but seriously, just go for it. But you have to work incredibly hard, and that work ethic that you put into it will give you a great outcome. That's kind of what I did whenever I was going for this local pageant and then this state title is I worked super hard, and that gave me a great outcome.
Absolutely. That's really good. Also, it's Friday, and you know what Friday is at the flower market, Tucker?
It's $5 Friday.
It's $5 Friday.
You can get a small bouquet for $5 down at the flower market. Great deal. Great flowers.
Great deal.
And yeah,
It's a
one
great
last
deal.
question. I just want to know this question personally. What is your favorite Christmas movie? What is the best Christmas movie of all time?
I would have to say The Grinch. I have Grinch pajamas. I have a Grinch pillow. I have Grinch slippers.
Favorite Christmas song?
Probably Jingle Bells. Is that basic?
That's very basic.
That's very basic.
I don't
yeah.
really listen to Christmas music that much. I know
Okay,
it's bad.
well,
That's bad. I
The
know.
Grinch is it's okay pick. It's an okay
I
pick.
love The Grinch. It's great.
It's whatever.
But yeah, we wish you everybody from Bulldog Productions a very Merry Christmas and
Very,
a Happy
very,
New
very
New
Merry
Year.
Christmas.
And make sure to check out On the Line, our gaming podcast, and the Bulldog Buzz with me and Will. And we'll see you next year. I'm Tucker.
I'm Will.
And this has been the Bulldog Banter. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Too many